We are excited about the elaboration room.
I am excited about this.
Welcome to the Elaboration Room with Reverend Yo and Reverend Harris.
Here we go. I didn't count you down. Just go.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in the Elaboration Room with two sisters of one. She did not give me the countdown, y'all, so I was not ready for her to start.
But and anyway, I have no excuse about it. I will not justify that wrong.
Yeah, so that's going to be our topic tonight. As you probably are like, what are they doing? As you know, we keep it real, we keep it funny, because this is just what we do. We have a whole episode before we even hit the record button. But thank you for joining us tonight in the Elaboration Room with two sisters of one, with Reverend Yo and Reverend Theresa. Yes, we are excited that you're with us once again, or if you're viewing it at a later time, we thank you for viewing with us as well. Please do not forget to like and subscribe and tell a friend so they can come over and like to subscribe. We have been doing this for over 100 and I think like 77, 76, 77 episodes. God has been good to us. Yes, God has been good to us, and we are just so grateful. We counted all joy. If you didn't watch our episode last week, we counted all joy for what God is doing in both of our lives because He is just that great of a God. So tonight we're going to be talking about when excuses become a lifestyle. Yes. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight because we know most people don't wake up and decide that they're not going to live at their best potential. You know, we should wake up with the effort that today is going to be our best day. We're going to enjoy this day. Whatever God brings for me to do, I'm going to walk with it and enjoy it. I'm not going to make any, excuses about it. Most people don't intentionally choose failure or broken relationships or missed opportunities or stagnant growth, but it's just something that can happen. But what often happens is something much more suitable for all of us, and that's when excuse becomes a habit. We cannot make excuses because of everything that goes wrong in our lives, because that habit will become a pattern in our life. And then everything we speak will be making excuses of why we couldn't do this or why we couldn't do that. And then those excuses, if you're not careful, they will then become your lifestyle. So before long, excuses are, no longer something we make. They become who we are. So we have to watch how we make excuses for the lifestyles that we live. We excuse people's behavior and our own behavior sometimes. We excuse people's attitudes, especially in a church. Oh, that's just how she is. We excuse our own attitudes sometimes. We excuse our lack of effort. We excuse our lack of growth. We have excuses for everything and then wonder why our lives remain unchanged. So that's where we're going tonight, talking about when excuses become our lifestyle. So today, as always, I like to give you a challenge every now and then. So today I want to challenge you to examine what happens when excuses stop being occasional and start becoming the way of life. So with that, I'm going to throw ball in Sissy's court, and she got us from here. I forgot to hit the time.
You know what? You know what, everyone? We have done, this is our 177th episode. And what happens is God will give one of us a topic and we'll, share it with each other so that we can marinate on it each in our own way. And so God gave me this topic and I shared it with Sis. And as I listened to her, that's what God gave her to marinate on. I want to bring this no excuse when, this excuse is becoming a lifestyle. It's from this space. You ever meet someone, or maybe it's you do wrong to someone, and you know you
Mm,
did dirt, but you always have an excuse. You always have a reason.
mm,
You always have a justification for the dirt you just did. When we justify our
mm,
wrongs, we block a path where change can happen. We block a path to
mm,
forgiveness, and that is with God. You know you did wrong, but you want to say, but God, this is
mm,
why I did it. This is why I did it. Or we have the nerve to do wrong and then justify it by telling the person we did the dirt to it was because of something they did or something they said.
mm,
When wrong is wrong,
mm,
we want to shift the blame. And that is where God gave this topic to me. And I said, oh my goodness, that's right. We do it. And I think we are all guilty of it at some point and some time. Instead of us going to the person and accepting the blame, falling on the sword because you know you did dirt, and praying for a space of forgiveness, we want to stand 10 toes down and justify why we did it like it's a badge of honor. So
mm.
it should truthfulness is not a self-defense. It's not a, it's a coming clean. When we go before God in confession, we're supposed to repent. We're not supposed to acknowledge the
Mhm.
wrongs that we've done and then tell God why we did it. Wrong is wrong. Not being obedient is not being obedient. Not showing kindness is not showing kindness. Not showing love is not showing love. There can't be any, Lord, I know I did such and such a thing, but there's no but. There's no but. There's the acceptance that you did wrong, and now you need to learn from it, whether it's a natural consequence, whether it is your conscience, you need to own up to what you've
Mm.
done because excuses keeps us from God's forgiveness.
Yeah.
So sis, based on that, what I want to know what your thoughts are.
Well, I think for some, excuses makes people comfortable with what should make them uncomfortable. So why do I want to make myself uncomfortable when my excuses make me comfortable of why I
Because you
can't
did the
or
dirt.
can do? Yeah, but some people's uncomfortableness makes them uncomfortable and they just rather keep it how it is. But one of the dangers that we have to realize of making excuses or having excuses is that they allow us to remain comfortable in places where we should be growing. That's where we're falling short. So we know we should apologize, but we have an excuse of why we can't. Well, they did that to me, or he or she did that to me, so I'm not going to apologize. He or she needs to apologize. We know we should change, but we have an excuse of why we can't change. We know we should be more disciplined, but we have an excuse of why we're not. It's to me, it's what society has become. It's easier for me to make an excuse about something than apologize for something I know I'm wrong about. That's just how this world is at this point in time. Nobody wants to be the first one to apologize. Nobody wants to admit they're the one that's wrong. So in order to not to do all that, we just keep making excuses of why we can't. And I'm not saying I do it. I'm talking we, so I'm not blaming anybody. We all got
That's
issues.
right. I'm talking in
But yeah,
generalities as
we all
well.
got issues here. That's why I'm using we, me, I, all of it, because we're not singling out no one person. We all have issues. But instead of confronting the issue, we explain it away. So we don't have to confront the issue. That's just how it is.
I think
I
that's an issue of pride.
oh
I
yeah,
think that's
I
an
know.
issue of pride, not showing that you are not perfect.
Mhm.
Nobody is perfect. And when we do wrong, we need to humble ourselves
Yeah,
and go and to apologize and to acknowledge I did wrong,
yeah. But
not
see,
grant an excuse.
but when excuses become a lifestyle, responsibility is always placed somewhere else. It's the boss's fault. It's my husband's fault. It's my wife's fault. It's the children's fault. It's the church fault. It's the co-worker's fault. It's, something happened in my past. It's that fault. It's the circumstances that I'm in now. Excuses, when we continuously make the excuses, we shift the responsibility from it. And while all those things that I just named may have some influence on each and every one of us, they cannot be allowed to define who we are. Mature people understand that while, they may not control everything that happens to them, they do control how they respond to things. And how are you responding? Personal growth begins when the moment we ask ourselves, whose fault is this? And yeah, whose fault is this? And start asking ourselves, what is my responsibility in this situation? And some people now I can speak from some experience. I've actually tried to step back in a thing and do an apology, but the individual's attitude was so nasty when I tried to step in. I just shifted back. Keep your attitude, homie. I'm good. I'm not going to force my relationship, my friendship on nobody.
But
You
it
can
was a
keep.
relationship, it was a situation where you did the wrong.
No, I don't know what the wrong was. I just know this individual stopped talking to me. So I went to approach that individual to have a conversation with that individual. And that individual off the top was snotty and rude. And I just stepped back. Girl, 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 girl. I just stepped back because I'm not going to shift. I'm not going to allow you to shift anything on me. So, I asked the Lord, what did I do? I still ain't got an answer.
But this is what I'm talking about is when
Because if
someone
I'm wrong,
knows
I'm
they
wrong.
did
I
wrong.
don't have a problem. But the problem is people know they do wrong and still won't apologize because, like we are talking about, they
They
will
make
shift the blame or
excuses.
excuse on somebody else. Exactly. They make excuses. So the other person can be sitting there trying to figure out what the heck did I say? What the heck did I do? You can't even do that to yourself.
Okay, wait a
You
minute,
can't.
because I think we're still losing. I think we're still on a couple of different roads. When someone knowingly does wrong to you, and then they look at you in your
Yeah, I know what
face
you said.
and they either put the blame on you or they make an excuse for what they did, that is the wrong.
Mhm. And I heard what you said. Yeah, and I heard what you
It
said.
has
And then I
nothing to
took it
do
to the
with that.
point
The
of
other
saying,
person is the victim.
it could be that is true. But what I'm saying is a lot of time the victim don't even know why the person has an attitude with them. So
I
how
would like to know that too. They're the ones who did wrong to
but
me.
that's what I'm saying. The person with the excuse or the attitude, the other person really don't even know what happened. But the victim knows, okay, this person is no longer talking to me, but why? Instead of coming to that person saying what the problem is, instead of making excuses of just being nasty or not even talking to the person at all, you are making the situation a lot worse on your behalf because you mad and the person don't even know why you mad. And so you're making excuses why not to talk to this person. Why are you not talking to this person? Why won't you just confront the person? In somewhere there's an excuse of why you won't talk to me. What is the excuse of why? Or why you won't talk to him or why you
Because
won't
you
talk
did
to her?
something wrong to me.
But if I
And then
don't know,
you turned around and tried to blame me for what you did.
mm-mm.
And so
I
this is what
understand.
I'm
No,
saying. You did the
I
dirt
under,
and then
I
came
under,
to me with an excuse as to why you did the dirt And so now I'm supposed to apologize? No.
I know.
You're
I
supposed, if you
understand what
did
you're
the dirt, you're supposed to
saying.
come with an apology as to why, not an excuse as to why you hurt me, but an apology as to an acknowledgement of why, of what you did, and then an
The Elaboration Room with two sisters of one. Make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode every Monday at 6 p.m.